So, all right, welcome everybody. Hey, why my music didn't stop? All right, welcome everybody. Welcome to our first trio show. Um, this is going to be interesting. We're live on YouTube right now, so to everybody on YouTube, I'm gonna be looking to the side every once in a while just to look in the room and see if I'm chatting. In not in Canvas, but in Zoom, we'll admit you as we get to you. Hey, Stephanie.
Hey, Brandon.
You excited?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Other staff is out and about, so they'll get in when they get in. Just a couple things to remind you. So students, on our Trio Canvas homepage, you can click on the schedule virtual appointments link, and it'll take you to links for Stephanie, Rashad, Carrie, and myself to make appointments. If it doesn't work, because again, we're doing everything online and it's been crazy, send us a message. We can get you scheduled. I actually did a couple Zoom appointments this morning, and I have a couple scheduled for tomorrow. So even when the appointment link doesn't work, we'll still get you set up. Please use your HEC email. If you send me an email from, I don't know, thoroughbreds@gmail.com, I will not respond to it, and we're not supposed to. So please use your Howard Community College email. Other big thing, please make sure, if you can, shout us out on social media, use the hashtag HEC Stronger Together. Howard Pride, Admissions, Career Link, Student Support Services, DSS. We all want to be shouted out on social media, so I'm really excited to see what's out there. Stephanie, you got anything you want to share before we get into talking about you?
No, I just hope that everybody is doing well. Everybody is taking care of themselves. I hope that this transition becomes a bit easier with the resources and support that we're providing for you all, and just let us know if there's anything that we can do to help assist with this transition. As Brandon stated, we're here for you all, stronger together.
Awesomeness. All right, well, Josh popping in. Let's see if he has anything to say. It tells me he's connecting to audio.
What's up, twin?
Yo.
Hey, twin, what's good?
Can y'all hear me?
We can hear you, sir.
We hear you.
What's up?
Well, you know, we're live on Zoom. We're live on YouTube. You got anything you want to share with the staff, with the fam, before we go ahead and get into asking Stephanie some of these questions?
No, it's good to see y'all faces and know that everyone is doing well.
And you know, you ready for Friday? Because I got some questions for you too.
You got some questions for me?
So Friday, so you better get ready for Friday.
Okay. Let me study and try to get myself right.
Because you're this or that. I'm telling you this now. Yours about to be good.
Now why you gotta do me like that, Brandon?
Because I know.
So what you trying to say, Brandon? Mine's gonna be mediocre.
No, yours will be good.
That's
too.
why you put me first. Is that why you put me first, Brandon? Let's get to let me interview you.
So we'll talk about how next Friday goes. Tell me, we'll talk. I really am kind of excited about how next Friday could go, because, as I told y'all as a team before, I haven't been held accountable as much as I should. So I really would love to, be on the hot seat. So, yeah. So let's go ahead and get started. Hey, Rashad, we're gonna go ahead and mute you.
Okay, cool.
All right. So Stephanie, you came here to the college in November 2019, and I got to say I was thankful that we were able to get you here. Because on your third day on the job, I said you were in charge, and I left. But you came to the college from Mount St. Mary's. You're a native of Detroit, an alumnus of the illustrious Kentucky State University. I did put out, I was trying to see if I can get Dr. Brown to, come surprises today on Zoom.
Oh my goodness.
I tried. It didn't work this time.
Okay.
And also the University of Louisville. But what else do we know about you?
Go Cards.
It's like, who is this Stephanie Durr? Like, tell me about yourself.
Okay. So as you stated, I'm from Detroit. I grew up on the east side, 7 miles to be exact. Shout out to all my people over there, DeQuinder, St. Albans. That was my street I grew up on. I went to a performing arts school for high school, Detroit School of Arts. So I didn't have the typical high school experience of having sports. Instead, we had performances. So we did concert choir. I did chorale. We sung spirituals, all different type of things. We had dance. I was in the band. I was a majorette. I served as a captain my last year. So I did a lot of different things that's not typical high school, like sports or cheerleading. Instead, I was singing and twirling the baton. I was a bit social in high school, and I waited to the very last minute to apply to college. Actually, I'm a first generation student. So Miss Malabed and Mr. Malabed, which were the band directors and the concert choir, well, the chorale director at Detroit School of Arts, they took us to Kentucky State to audition. I twirled the baton, and I also did like a little solo for the concert choir at Kentucky State. And during that visit, I just felt a sense of home. It didn't take us a long time to get there. It wasn't far from Detroit. I saw a lot of people who looked like me. It was very welcoming. I felt like I had just came to like be with all my cousins from all these other places. So I went ahead and applied to Kentucky State. I got accepted. And then I went early for a summer bridge program called AWA, Academics with Attitude. Shout out to Mr. White. He helped me a lot my freshman year, or that pre-college experience. He was very influential in that. But being at AWA really helped grow and mature me and prepare me for the next 4 years of my journey. And then, you know, I just got super involved on campus. I know that's probably one of the questions coming up, but you know, I'm a very ambitious and driven young lady from the city of Detroit wanting to make a change. I have a lot of goals and aspirations and other things other than student success, but it all kind of aligns together, making things equitable and, you know, making everybody feel like they have a place in every space. So yeah, it's a little bit about me.
That's awesome. And so when you got to Kentucky State and you got really involved, I'm going to make an assumption that that getting involved was part of the reason why you started working with students.
Absolutely.
So tell me a little bit about, like, what was that journey? Like, what was there something that said, hey, this is what I want to do, at least for this part of my pathway in life?
So it honestly, to be completely honest, it started while in the Academics with Attitude program. So we stayed, all the students who were in the program, we stayed in this dorm, and we had, you know, like counselors, or I forget what they were called. Live and learning community coordinator people, you know, students who took the summer job to work with these bad kids. Like, no. But it was a young lady there that was that was a hall director. Her name was Bianca, and I was attracted to Bianca, not that way, but I was attracted to Bianca because she had just this warm spirit, and she was a student ambassador. And they used to always, her and this guy named Ray Bankston, they used to always tell us, like, you know, get involved, get involved, get involved. So I'm the type of person, you ain't got to tell me twice. If you telling me that getting involved is the way to success, that's the way I'm going to meet people, that's the way I'm going to cut the line in financial aid, I'm going to get involved. So that's what I did. I jumped right in with Student Government Association. I became a freshman class senator. You know, I started small just to see how it would be. Then I moved on to being the secretary. Then me and a friend of mine, we tag team as president and vice president. We did the first Greek game night during the time where Greeks really weren't coming together on campus. So what we did was we invited them all to this game night, even people who may have been, well, chapters who may not have been necessarily on the yard. We did the research to reach out to them, invite them out, and it turned out to be a really great thing. So the first thing that I found is I had a gift for connecting people. So I thought if I could connect people who are looked at as the elite on campus, you know, at a HBCU, you are not, you know, the Greek life is a different type of life, you know. So for these freshmen to come in and kind of infiltrate this area and say, hey, this is what we're doing, you're either on board or you're not, and everybody got on board, I felt accomplished, you know. So I said, if I can do this with my peers, there's no telling what I can do if I'm exposed to other people who are about to be in my shoes in another year or so. So how can I build on this? How can I perfect this craft or this gift of mine? So I went from being very involved in SGA and making those connections. And that's what I would say to any student right now, make those connections. Everybody that you meet, approach them in a pleasant manner. Not saying that you gotta, kiss up or anything, but you want to put your best foot forward with people because you want to leave a memorable, you want to leave them something to remember about you. So when it's time for you to need a favor or anything like that, they say, oh, I met you last semester. You were really cool. How did X, Y, and Z go? You'll be surprised to see the things that they remember about the encounter that they had with you. So I literally just took that approach and applied it to every area. I wanted to be a student ambassador. I hung around student ambassadors. I saw what that life was like. What would this responsibility be like? And then, one perk about being a student ambassador, we had these very elite Kelly Green blazers. And I said, you know what? I want one of them. I want one. So just like I said, applying that skill to every place that I went, and then just being a dependable student. I know that my first job was to be a student, but there was a special connection that I made with administrators, whether that be the vice president of student affairs, the director of student life. I made those connections so that when they needed a liaison between administration and students, I was the person that can say, hey, y'all, we need to do X, Y, and Z in order. If we want the money from them, this is how we need to cooperate. And if you want student engagement to increase, this is what you all need to do. So it was a good place for me to be in, to be able to knock on the vice president of student affairs door. And she'd be like, no, let my baby in, to be the baby, and I appreciate that Dr. Faulkner and Dr. Jacqueline, they took me in and they were like, two African-American women running student affairs at K-State. And I just loved it. And that, kind of really helped my experience to say, hey, I can do this. Like, this is something I want to do. I aspire to be where they are now. So just those little experiences kind of shifted me into wanting to work with students.
Now, since you kind of opened this one up, so you want to get to that, director of student life, vice president level. How do you see yourself getting there? What's on your radar for this next part of that journey? Well, it's interesting. Or what are some of the things you've done to get you to that point already?
Okay. So I went to University of Louisville and I got my master's in higher education administration. Now, while in that program, they also offered college student personnel as a lane that you could go in as well. Ideally, it's the same thing, but college student personnel is more counselor-based, theory type of thing, whereas administration is kind of like you thinking about different ways that you can make how organizations work, how you can enhance the institution like on a wider scale versus not just focusing specifically on students, right? So I took that approach because I said, well, I know that my lived experiences and working within higher education in general, I'll get the experience of how to work with students, how to counsel students, how to advise students. But I wanted to get that foundation of how organizations or how institutions work behind the scenes. Like, what are all the moving pieces that make a college and a university what it is? So that was the first step, identifying exactly what would be the best program for me. The second step moving forward when I was looking for a job post-graduation was how can I now align my personal skills and what I'm interested in with my degree, because my mama always say, you ain't pay that money just to be sitting around and nobody's, if you went to school for it, you need to be living it out, and I keep that in the back of my mind. So I went ahead and applied for the job at Mount St. Mary's, and I was the assistant director of the Center for Student Diversity. So that entailed, it was heavily rooted in programming. So I was doing all of the diversity programming for Mount St. Mary's University. I was doing trainings, I was doing counseling sessions, and it had nothing to do with the students' academics. It had to do with the experience that they were having being a student of color on a predominantly white campus. So I'm not a therapist, but I had to read. I had to reach out to my colleagues to find ways that I could support these students in this space, especially since I was hired in, and then, my director had moved on to another opportunity. So now I'm managing a whole center by myself. And I'm eternally grateful for that opportunity, because it's like, how people say, oh, you got thrown to the wolves. I was glad I got thrown into the fire. I would rather get thrown into the fire early than have a smooth ride and then get thrown into the fire later and not know what to do. That experience really built my stamina to know when difficult times come my way, okay, you just got to learn, how can you put out all these different fires while you're in the fire? That's literally what I had to do. But I loved it because I was working with students. I was building programs for students, building trainings for students, and to see how they evolve through the trainings that I was providing. It just, bring me some joy knowing that this experience may be the most comfortable, but look at the impact, look at the outcome. But all good things must come to an end. So after a while, I started to see what my other options would be. I know I didn't want to stay in programming. So I looked for an opportunity that will open a door for me to really get one-on-one counseling, advising, and a different level of administrative work. So I was on higheredjobs.com, and I came across this wonderful opportunity at this place called Howard Community College. Brandon, so I was really nervous about this place. I'm like, I never worked at a community college before. What is this going to be? Am I jumping from a frying pan to another skillet frying? Is this what's best for me? I had a lot of questions, but I took that leap of faith. And one thing that really inspired me to apply for the job is when I reflected upon the role that student support services played in my trajectory as a professional, as a young woman, as a student, and I said, if there is no other way in the world to pay it forward, this job would be that for me, So I went ahead and applied, and I guess Brandon liked me pretty well, because here I am.
Yeah, you wowed the team, I can tell you that.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that really stood out for us was the fact that you were a participant in student support services before. So you had an idea of what our program should be doing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I want to go a little bit backwards. So, you've been here at the college now, a few months, it's about 4 months now.
Yeah.
And you got thrown to a quick fire in your first 2 months. We had to write a grant.
Yes, beautiful experience.
So thinking about, your role in all this, what do you see your position in, or what do you want your impact to be on our grant going forward?
Honestly, working on the grant this time and just really delving into it to see the ins and outs and the foundation that was already built before I got there. I want to see how we can become more innovative in the programs and the approach. And this is definitely one. This whole live show thing, how we are navigating working remote in lieu of the current, situation going on around the world. How many other programs that are taking the time out to do things as such. So this is a prime example of one of the things that I would want to do, or the ways that I want to be innovative. But I also want to see how we can utilize our students better. How can we utilize those students who have really benefited from the program, whether that means that we got them towards transferring, or we got them towards graduation. What type of events or what type of program other than the peer mentors can we implement to create that network within student support services? So how you have a young alumni network after you graduate from undergrad, how can we create somewhat of a young alumni student support services of HCC so that students can see, okay, it's people who have gone through what I've gone through. It's people who've taken that math class, people who've gotten through that reading, gotten through that lab, passed the nursing program, and while being a student, in student support services. So how can we connect outside of peer mentors? How can we create that long-term mentorship with program participants who have graduated or moved on to other institutions?
I love that. So, my favorite saying, do it.
Yeah.
We've talked about, at the program, we've talked about it, and we've done some small things like that, but
Mm-hmm.
I think being, whatever we do and trying to then scale it to our program. And
Right.
then always back in my mind, because, our idea of stronger together is a big deal, is how do we also leverage, what our partners are doing in Business Journalists and Howard Pride? Because
Right.
once in a while, we may not have a student who wants to go, let's say, to Kentucky State out of SSS, but we may have somebody who out of Howard Pride who went. So making those connections, I think, will be important.
Right.
One other thing I want to ask before we jump into, I think maybe the fun part of this or that is, we talked about the peer mentor program. That's one of the things in your job description that's actually yours to own.
Right.
So any thoughts about how you envision the program supporting students, building pathways, or how do you want just to blow it up and start all over again?
So I've been thinking about that a lot, especially since we've been working from home. I've had a lot of time to work whenever I want to because, hey, we're at home. But in my free time, I even think about how I work is I think about what worked for me. And I know that won't work for everybody else, but I think about how impactful was a peer mentor to me, how impactful was I as a peer mentor, and then how can I take those experiences and refine them to pilot them to another group of students that it can make the same impact or a better impact. So I've had a peer mentor. I've been a peer mentor through Upward Bound. And I've built peer mentor programs even at Mount St. Mary's. So what I would like the peer mentor to grow into is at least 15 to 20 peer mentors. So that I know that's what's the word ambitious, the word we use in the grant. It's ambitious, but I believe it's really attainable. It will definitely take me doing a lot of footwork because I have to grasp the attention of the students in general. And I think that is something that I want to work on is how do we grasp their attention? Because we can send out 1,000 emails, we can send out 1,000 Canvas alerts, and we'll still only have 6 people logged in, out of over 230 students that we have. So what is it? And I believe I've stated this before. What are the needs? What are the needs for a peer mentor? And then how can we meet those needs? And what is it going to take to get those needs met? So I like starting from that foundation, but I would like to grow it into something between 15 to 20 peer mentors. And then divide those mentors up into groups, and then they will have their own sections of what they'll be over. So group 1 may be over the workshops, group 2 may be over follow-up, and then group 3 may be over outreach. So group 3's job is to make sure they're sending out weekly reminders. Hey, this is the peer mentor program. These are the mentors that we have on a roster. Here's a short bio of them. If there's anybody that you connect with or you feel like you can benefit from, reach out to them. And this is how we can start this conversation. Then we have our peer mentors that's over. So we have the outreach, we have the workshops, then we have the peer mentors who brainstorm workshops. What is it that we need? Then we have the peer mentors that are doing the programming, the actual programming. What do students like? What are some things that we can host in the lab? We can host in the career center. What are some ways we can reach out to the students? Go to DH100, put something on, So basically having a big group of students, but it's a divide and conquer type of thing. So each student is not doing the exact same thing because everybody has strengths and weaknesses. So when we get those 15 to 20 peer mentors, taking them through an extensive training, finding their strengths, what are you interested in? Where do you shine the most? And then utilizing them and building off of those skills versus saying, this is our program, this is what we want to do and do it. They may genuinely have a heart to peer mentor, but they want to bring their own individualized talents into that to be the best mentor that they can be. So that's the approach that I want to take, and then just see how it grows from there. And, you know, if it doesn't work, you take it back to the drawing board and fix things around. But initially going into the next semester after all the madness has come, that's my goal. That's how I wanted to get started. And specifically starting in the summer, putting the word out in the summer, hey, making it known that we're looking for this many mentors. And then putting a certain level of prestige on being a peer mentor, because you're getting paid. You know, this is not community service. This is not volunteer. You're getting paid for the work that you're doing. You get perks of being associated and attached to one of the best programs on campus. You know, you get that individualized network with the administrators within student support services. Like I said, knowing sometimes it ain't about what you know, it's about who you know. So if you have that direct connection to Brandon because of your work being a peer mentor, when you have an issue with your financial aid, Brandon can make a phone call downstairs and say, hey, I got one of my peer mentors, they need X, Y, and Z done. You can have your problem solved within 15 minutes. You know, so letting them know that this is not a hobby, this is a commitment, you know, putting the importance of the program on there. And then sharing that same importance with students who are being mentored to let them know, hey, people are dedicating their time, their energy, their talents, their efforts to help you along the way, you know, so make it a priority as well, you know, take this thing seriously. So just, you know, bringing the substance back to peer mentors, or providing a new type of substance, shall I say, to peer mentors is one of my biggest goals.
All right. I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
I'll be looking for a plan.
Okay.
But I want to get into something fun. So taking some of my favorite podcasts, we're going to do a little game called This or That.
Okay, let's do it.
So I got a couple. Rashad gave me a couple. And
Rashad. I don't know about Rashad. You know, he likes to play all day.
So these are based. It's only I think it's about 6 of these. We should get enough time. So first thing first, y'all know me at Uncle B. I'm a nerd. I could walk around all day long in my Air Monarchs and be happy.
Okay.
So last week was Air Max Day, and
okay.
I did not buy any Air Maxes, so my boy AD's mad at me. But in your case, if you had to choose Jordans or Forces, and why?
If I had to choose between Jordan or Forces, it would have to be Forces. Some clean, crisp Butters, Air Force Ones, the white ones, low top, they undefeated. And I feel Forces because that's what I grew up on. You know, my dad used to always keep me in a clean pair of Forces. So I would have to say Forces.
Okay. All right, I had to get some water. All right. So now.
I think I need some too. I feel like I've been talking a lot.
Hey, get some water. We can pause for a second. We'll get the chat.
No, it's cool. It's cool. I'm here.
All right. So if you were feeling homesick and you had to go grab some pop, which I really don't know what pop is, it should be soda.
You know what pop is. Don't play with me, Uncle V.
Is it going to be Faygo or is it going to be Verner's?
Faygo.
Okay. Which flavor, first of all, and then why?
Moon Mist. Faygo, Moon Mist. Okay, 2 reasons. So Moon Mist, I believe that, I don't know, my mom always liked Moon Mist, and I used to always sneak her Moon Mist when she had a Moon Mist. So
I don't know what that flavor is.
Moon Mist is equivalent to Mountain Dew, basically.
Okay.
Another reason why I like Moon Mist is because when they make that good old church punch, they will put Kool-Aid, lemonade, and Moon Mist in the punch. And that would be the best punch ever. Shout out to New Prosperity Missionary Baptist Church. Best punch ever. And I would watch them make the punch, and they would put Moon Mist in the punch to give it that little, you know, so you have juice and pop at the same time.
Okay. So I know from our conversations, you love to travel. And
I do.
So in an ideal world, would you either be hopping on the bus in the sky called Spirit Airlines or repping the Reds on Delta Airlines?
Delta.
Why? Okay. Well, when did you pledge? Where did you pledge at? What's your line?
Oh, I actually just celebrated 6 years of being in the illustrious Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. 6 years, March 30th. Okay. Thank you. 6 years in a fold. Kentucky State University, spring 14, number 15. My line name is Fortitude. But yeah, I would like number one, Delta comfortability. And a lot of my trips are not always domestic, they're international. So I'm not getting on Soul Plane for an international flight. And I know Brandon, Rashad said Spirit Airlines be having him landed like he in a Rolls Royce, like he in a Bentley. He lived by Spirit. And to each his own, twin. I hear you. But for me, if I'm gonna be in the air for over 3 hours, I need to fly in some comfort. You know, I need me a little comfort.
Okay.
In my travel, you know. So
it doesn't hurt that, you know, you're home to one of the hubs for Delta Airlines out of Detroit, so it makes a little sense.
Actually, if anybody giving away their companion pass, hit your girl up.
They need to call me first. You know, I need some travel. So earlier this year, you went to Ghana.
I did.
Probably talk about that more in another conversation. You know, you shared to us, you know, it's been a transformative experience. For your next trip to the motherland, this is a weird one. Would you do Liberia, the American colony, or would you do South Africa?
Honestly, I would probably do Liberia.
Okay.
I would probably do Liberia because for me, before I go to South Africa, I wanna spend a little bit more time, you know, in West Africa. So if I could like bounce around, like the Ivory Coast situation, you know, I would take advantage of as much as I can there before I go to South Africa. I hear South Africa is beautiful. Rashad's been to South Africa, and I know it is beautiful. But for me, I feel like I'm just in a phase of my life where I just want to be closer to home. I want to be closer to roots. You know, South Africa is gonna always be there, so I want to visit at least 2 more countries in West Africa before I travel to South Africa.
Now, I know we got a couple students watching. So when you were in Ghana, did you at least try some Ghanaian jollof rice?
Absolutely. I got it from this restaurant called Mama Africa. It's in this area in Ghana called Osu. And it was really good. Really, really good.
Now, have you had some Nigerian jollof rice yet?
I have, and it was dry. It was really, really dry.
All right. So it's good to know. That's probably going to be a question I'm going to ask everybody who's made to the motherland at some point.
Yeah.
People who are going to be mad at us soon for that conversation. So this is a new one. So during this work from home, stay at home time, if you had a taste for something sweet and you and your roommates, like, you know, y'all want some cheesecake, would it be baked or no bake?
No bake.
Why?
I grew up on no bake cheesecake. My auntie Pam, if you watch your auntie, my auntie Pam, every Thanksgiving, she would make the best no bake cheesecake, and then she would put these like strawberries and like cherries on top of it, and that's just all I remember. Now my stepmother is an amazing baker. Like she can bake her butt off, and she does really good no bake cheesecake as well. But my auntie, like, it's just something about, maybe because that was my first time really tasting cheesecake. It was amazing with the graham cracker crust. 10 out of 10. So definitely no bake.
Okay.
I think baked cheesecake is too thick for me. The consistency is too thick.
And you know, just for the record, I'm actually surprised how that question went, because when I saw it, I'm like, I really didn't know that's gonna be a good question or not.
Yeah, it's a really good one. I like cheesecake is like my favorite dessert. Ben and Jerry's strawberry cheesecake ice cream is my favorite. 10 out of 10. Like if anybody ever wants to get me ice cream, Ben and Jerry's, it comes in a little pint. Ben and Jerry's strawberry cheesecake is the best.
So I want to shout out to your twin for that question, because that was not me.
Oh, shout out. So he probably know. We probably done had a conversation about it before.
So just for the record, for people who don't know, when we talk about twins, so When we were doing the search process, I felt some kind of way because when I first started at college, I was the young one. I was the baby.
Mm.
I'm no longer the baby. You and Rashad, y'all young. And
Yeah, we out here.
but what we didn't realize was that y'all literally had your birthdays in the same month.
Mm-hmm.
Like that blows me. I was like, how do we hire both of y'all? Y'all the same age.
Y'all knew what y'all was doing.
Real talk, no, I didn't. I knew we were hot. We wanted to get some really good people. We wanted to bring some new energy, but I did not realize it was like, okay, we about to literally bring the twins. And so it started off as a joke, but really that's how we see y'all. Y'all really coming here. Me and Deborah, we were talking yesterday, just checking out. She had how the twins doing. Like,
Aww, CC there.
We can easily like, hey, y'all the twins. We can talk about both y'all, and then get ready for stuff. So my the last one we got is this, and I already know the answer to this one, but as a music lover, what's your streaming service to go to? Spotify or Apple Music?
Apple Music.
Now, me and my roommate, we were having this conversation earlier. Apple Music or Tidal?
Apple Music. I've never used Tidal. I've had Apple Music ever since, basically since it started. And then as a student, I could use my EDU and get it for $5 a month. I was like, "Dad, say less." So I've always used it. And I know Tidal had this thing when Beyonce and Jay-Z was on tour that you get it for free if you go to the concert. I just don't like all of those. Get it 30-day trial, because a person like me, I will forget to remove my card, and I'll be sick to my stomach when they say, "Thanks for your payment." And I'll be like, "Wait a minute, I didn't pay." That wasn't me. So Apple Music. I also like Apple Music because I feel like they pay attention to the things I listen to. So I can like go on there and it'll be like some of your faves, and it'll be literally all the music I've listened to within the last month. And then it creates a playlist for me, and then I can listen to all my favorite songs on one playlist. Okay.
So you're talking about music. Who is your favorite artist? Like if you had to go to a club quarantine concert right now, who's gonna be the artist you want to see?
Can I put together a festival? Or okay.
You can give me a lineup. You can give me a festival lineup.
Okay, so this is gonna be like a BET festival. So they got a gospel slot. Okay. So definitely Anita Baker.
So can you please tweet at Anita and tell her the same thing I've been telling her for the last 2 weeks? We need her to do a live show.
I will. I'll get on it. I will stand in agreement with you on that. Because Kim did one the other day. And I love Kim. He's from Detroit. I love Kim, as you know. So Anita Baker will have to be there. Kim, since we talked about him. Jill Scott will have to be in the mix. Future. And I'm going to tell you, it's going to be a wide variety of people. Future got to be there.
Okay.
This rapper his name is Larry June. He has to be in the mix.
Larry June?
Mm-hmm.
You gonna need to send me some of his music. I don't know who he is.
Say less. I got you. Okay. So Larry June will have to be there. Burna Boy, for sure. You don't know Burna Boy?
Yeah. Again,
friend. Uncle B.
Exactly. I'm Uncle B. I don't know about some of these kids.
I gotta get you together. So Burna Boy will have to be there definitely. The Weeknd. You know The Weeknd, right?
I know who The Weeknd is.
Okay. This African artist named Techno.
Okay.
Techno will have to be there. Outkast will have to make a return. Miss Lauryn Hill.
Now will
have to make a return.
Here on time?
Listen, it's BET. It's a BET festival, so you already know how this whole thing gonna work. So we're not gonna ask some kind of questions. Okay. We're not gonna do my good sis Miss Lauren. Meg Thee Stallion.
Okay.
Meg got to be there. It's this girl named Paige Cakey that I really like. She's based out of London. Okay. the page and cake you got to pull up. I want the composers to be the band. Like they are a band. I can send you some stuff on YouTube. So yeah, so the composers will have to be there. Janae, I could keep going. Brent Fayez, Jay Huss will have to be there. T.Y. Savage will have to come. Her, Summer Walker. You want me to keep going? It will be a lot of people.
So basically what you're telling me is we're gonna need to do like it's gonna be almost like a 2-3 day festival to get your face.
Yep. Yes, absolutely.
Now you said it's a
Womack and Womack have to be there. So this is how we could do it, Brandon. We could do it by decades. Like if you were from the 70s to the late 80s, boom, that's day one. Then like late 80s to early 2000s, boom, then 2005 to 2010, and then you got 2010 to 2020 will be the third day.
So that means I'll be there only for days 1 and 2, and I'll do shows.
No, you got to come for all 3 days.
I don't know who some of these kids are for day 3.
But this is, Brandon, a learning experience. It's a new way to learn.
You're using my words against me.
Yes. Thank you for teaching me. I'm learning. You are who you hang around.
That's true. So I put it into the chat to see if anyone had any other questions. I didn't get anything on email. So I'm gonna flip around this way since we got a little bit of time. What do you want me to answer? Let you be the interviewer for a second. Let me be a little.
Okay. So, I do have a question that I always wanted to know. Aside from me working in students, like working with Upper Brown before, like working in that area before, what was it for you that you said, like, okay, I definitely want this girl to be a part of the team?
So I think the first thing that really stuck out to me was your work at Mount St. Mary's. Because I knew your former supervisor, and I knew that she had done, and then I also knew the director prior to her. So knowing what I knew about that office and that space, I knew that you were going to be bringing some skill sets to the team that we haven't had in a while, or at least haven't had new energy in. But the thing that really stood out to all of us was your time at Spalding, working in admissions. Because none of us on the team recently have worked in admissions until we got here. And transfer and graduation is our big thing. So knowing a little bit about just how that outreach piece works is important, but also take the same skills and use it for outreach to recruit for our program, because we still got to hit 242.
Right.
So that literally across the board was like, boom, you got admissions experience. We need to make sure we have you as one of the people we want to talk to. So that was
okay. How has, now that you have a full staff, how do you feel as the leader of our team? Like, how do you feel to kind of now have everybody in a specific place? You can delegate tasks. Like, how do you feel?
I'm starting to feel a little bit better. I think the weird part about all of this right now is nothing's been normal, even since we've gotten the whole team. Like, we've not been able to, there's not been able time to just stop, process, because there's always been some fire we're putting out, or in this case, building a brand new fire. I had sent an email to my dissertation chair, it's like, hey, this is what's going on. She was like, things change, you'll be okay. But I do feel better because now I'm not worried about, having to contact all 200 some students and knowing that they might all reach out to me at the same time. I now know that, you can reach out to your students, build those relationships. And if something happens or you have a question, you can reach out to me. Same thing with Rashad, same thing with Carrie. So I'm really trying to learn, what does it mean to be the associate director? What does it mean to step back, watch y'all do as y'all do, and let it grow. And so I'm excited because the conversations I'm now having with my colleagues around campus who've been associate directors, who are program directors, is seeing, how to now do the administrative piece, but also still have my connection to my students. Cause I love working with students.
Yeah.
Like I truly, even though I like coming to work late, I'm not the early person. I miss my office right now. I miss, it's almost
Same.
it's almost 3 o'clock. You know that there's gonna be a whole bunch of students who are gonna show up talking about, hey, you got a voucher. I'm like, the cafe has already shut down for real food other than pizza. Go get your snack. What you learned today. Like, I miss that flow right now, this time of the day, in the springtime. So it'll be nice.
Yeah. Right. You know, we got the windows, the sun shining through the offices.
So, I really
So,
do miss that. I miss seeing my students. So this week has been kind of cool just in this short amount of
hmm
time because I'm able to start talking to students again. We're trying to fill out you know, what's this, virtual space is going to look like for us.
okay. I have one last question. Do you think that HEC will ever put on like a homecoming concert?
Ah, so please direct that to student life. We legitimately have talked about, at least in that area, doing something like that.
hmm
We've had some students, and we've encouraged our students to actually run for student program board and student government, because I think
hmm
our representation there is not where it needs to be yet. Um,
mm
but I do believe that we can do that. About a year ago, we had a couple basketball players who actually did a Midnight Madness. It still started at 7
Okay.
o'clock, but it was a start for us to do that because we really have never built a culture of athletics. We've never built a culture of, you know, we know this is college,
Right.
but our students don't know this is college.
Right.
So I think we're in a unique position with just how our programs work together. And I think if we can build some more relationships with student life and with athletics again, I think we can pull it off. We have, championship athletic teams right now. I think we can make a homecoming happen. It may not be a true concert. It's not going to be,
hmm
um,
but it is one step at a time. You know, one step at a time.
but I really do believe that we can do something, and make that engagement piece happen.
Okay.
And if it ever makes it to GO,
Sounds good.
I know the people to call to make it happen.
Oh Lord. Oh well. We know this connection piece to everything, Brandon. You got somebody for literally every single thing. So
I try, and if I don't know, we have some great friends around campus who have done some amazing stuff. They know some people. Real talk, Joffrey
yeah.
probably knows somebody. If I don't know him, Joffrey knows him.
Yeah. I wonder how is Joffrey doing?
He's doing good.
Can you tell him I said hello?
I will. I sent him the message saying, "Hey, join us and watch the video." So we'll see.
hmm
So
If you listen to Joffrey, hello. We got some catching up to do, man. A lot of things have happened in my life.
so yeah. So we're coming up on 2:50. We're gonna actually probably
Okay.
wrap up early. So it gives us some time to get ourselves ready for 4 o'clock because, like, for me today, I've been hyped all day.
Mhm.
Everyone knows. Well, I think people know I'm an introvert, but
Mhm.
when it comes to programming, I get really excited because I'm scared it doesn't work. So there's a level of anxiety. So I've been working on stuff all day. So I'm really excited about this hangout at 4 o'clock. Um,
Okay.
any last words you want to share with our fam out here?
Um, I just want to tell everybody keep your head up. You know, tough times don't last. Tough people do. We're gonna get through this. It's a transition for us all. I know a lot of my students who I sent a message to earlier in the week. I want to validate this experience. Feel what you need to feel because trust and believe everybody is feeling it. So it's not that we are trying to shove school down your throat, but this is not an excuse to slack. You know, if anything, this is more motivation to keep pushing forward. This is something that you can write down in your book of things. Like, I finished school during a pandemic. So look at it. Look at the positives. You're still able to go to class. You're still able to get the education. Because of the support of the administrators, you still have access to resources. So just take advantage of every single thing that you can. And you're doing it from the comfort of your home. Half y'all don't be wanting to come anyway. So you should be a little happy. It's like, nah, but seriously, just And one little nugget that I want to leave is while journaling yesterday, I had like this kind of full circle moment. And I realized I love journaling because it is the only place where I can literally write everything I want and then turn the page.
Wow.
I could turn the page and it's a brand new page for me, you know, but that symbolism of turning that page and leaving it in the past as something it's written and it's over. If you're having any type of anxiety or if you're feeling like, you know, you may live by yourself, you know, or you may have a partner that's an essential worker, or you may be taking care of somebody who's sick, write those thoughts down, write how you feel and turn that page and keep moving forward. You know, every day is a step closer to getting back outside. So let's just be positive, keep positive. That's my gym for the day.
Thank you for that. Welcome back to your video, Rashad. We're just quickly
Look at Rashad.
Let me unmute you real quickly. Welcome back. Okay, we can't even hear you. Yeah, we can't hear you, but real quickly, so I just want to thank everybody for joining us for our first ever trio show. This has been dope. Like, I'm really excited about this.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me on the show, Brandon.
You're welcome. You know, we're really trying our best to build community, so we're going to do this. Hope to see many of y'all at 4:00 in our Strong Together Zoom hangout. That will not be broadcast live on YouTube. Make sure you have your HC emails set up in Zoom, because if you don't, we'll kick you out. You're not going to Zoom bomb us. That's our trio show for today. Join us Friday. We're going to have Rashad Bryan on, our new completion specialist advisor. We're going to be talking some stuff. He got his this or that can be real fun. We're going to be talking about Bethune-Cookman and how they're not the #1 HBCU in the world. Aggie Prime.
Yeah.
And just remember, there are three S's in success. See y'all. Peace. All right, and I can stop the show.